Alright, well, Nitan here, back with another video. Um, it's already Thursday, so looking forward to pretty much enjoying the weekend and getting a little bit more rest. Um, well, gonna try to anyway. Um, so yeah, I guess this one will be more of a video, more than the other one. So this one will be more of a video. Um, there's a lot of people I see, when I do go out, or shall I say, when I have to go out. You see people that are either happy or upset, or, they're all over the place, you know. And for me, I stay away from that. I stay out of that, as long as it's not affecting me personally or emotionally, spiritually, physically, I stay out of it. And I see that and it's disheartening, but, there are some people who don't want to change, you know, they just don't, they're accustomed to what they've been doing for so long, or, you know, they say they want change and they'll put out talking about change on social media, but then they won't change. It's like, what's the point? It's really like, what's the point? I know for a fact that I have changed, in some people's eyes for better or worse or whatever. That has no effect on me, honestly. People will always say, oh, you switched up, or you stopped being there, or, whatever. They'll always come up with some excuse to make themselves feel better, subconsciously not even knowing that, they themselves are the ones who did it, not the people who decided to help and put everything, into motion and did what people could do for other people, and all that. And I for one, I'm pretty much over that. Honestly, it doesn't affect me. I shouldn't let it affect me, and I don't, I just keep moving, keep on my path, It's sad that people think that way, but sometimes that's just how people think, you know. I'm not here to judge anybody, put anybody down, but it's just how people think now. They're upset at other people, but the reality of the matter is they're upset at themselves. They ain't upset. They're not upset with like the people who are trying to be there and all that. They're really upset with themselves, but they can't come to the realization of that. And I see that every time I go out. People are always mad about something. People are always yelling and fighting each other over something stupid all the time when I go out. It's not even like a racial thing. It's just in general. Like every time I go out, there's always somebody mad over something. And nowadays we're at a point where we don't even talk to each other. Like actually talk to each other. What other face down in our phones. Like always looking at it, and all this other stuff. It's like, you know, people talk about, don't post problems or they put it up in memes and all this stuff, but you're still doing it. Whether you're trying to be aware or trying to bring awareness, you're still kind of doing it. You know, so you can't sit there and say that people do that when you're still, even if you're doing it and trying to be funny, you're still putting out your problems. You know, the other thing about problems and all that, it all stems from here, man. All stems from here. You'll always get the people who say, "Oh, you ain't doing enough," or "You ain't doing enough for me in particular," or all that type of stuff. It's like, you know, me personally, I can't, I don't have time to deal with that. If that's how people honestly feel, that's just how they feel, you know. But again, they're not mad at the people helping, they're mad at themselves, but they can't see the reality of that. You know, they can't see that. You know, they don't want to allow themselves to see the reality of that. They want to just stay in the same lane of, oh, well, this person ain't doing enough, you know. And it's like, alright, that's all you, you know. It's no sweat off my bones, you know. It's no sweat off me. It doesn't make me a bitter person or an angry person and all that. Because I don't have time to process that type of thinking when, you know, the individual who's doing the helping knows that they're a good person. They don't have to be valued and put on a pedestal and all that other stuff of who's been there and who hasn't been there and all this other nonsense, man. You know, we've always been at this point where we're fighting this and fighting that, fighting people and saying people haven't done enough and this and that. You know, it's like, no, you're mad at yourself, don't take it out and then claim people didn't do anything or people, show their true colors and all that stuff when the person's true colors never change. You know, it's something called watching from afar. You know, nowadays people think that I'm switching up and not being there. No, I'm still there. I'm just watching from afar. You know, you can't go through helping people, helping people, helping people, helping people. Then when you're burnt out yourself from doing all that, continue to help people. When you yourself are burnt out, you gotta take a retreat. For yourself. You gotta step away for yourself, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You gotta recharge yourself. You can't sit there and go through and with people if you yourself haven't cleared your own mind. You can't clear people's mind and you know saying they'll never have a clouded mind yourself. That's just bull. You know, if anybody's ever told you that, they're lying. You know, they're lying. They're clearly lying. You know, I'm not saying don't help people, but help people to the extent that you yourself aren't burnt out. Because if you yourself are burnt out, you can't help anybody who you're trying to help. You know, that's coming from honest experience. You know, I don't mind helping people, listening to people's stories, listening to people's problems. You know, I do what I can to cheer people up. I'll make a funny face or I'll make a joke or, you know, that's just how I am to diffuse things, make people feel better. Because I was in that state. I know what that's like, you know. But at the same time, I also realized that when it came to fighting people and being angry and da 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 and all this other stuff. I was angry at myself, you know. Even regardless of the fact people was helping me and helping me out and whatnot. You know, I never really actually processed that whole situation when it came to, feeling overwhelmed. And that's the other thing people don't do. They don't process things. You know, that's another thing people don't do. They don't process the whole thing of, well, you know, instead of just blaming people and saying this and that about them, and maybe the people around me did all they could, and I just couldn't see it. And I can't admit that to myself. You know, I'm all fine with people just, sometimes if you gotta go ghost for a while, you gotta go ghost. That's what you have to do to protect yourself here. You know, as long as you ain't hurting yourself physically and all that stuff, as long as you're protecting here and here, you're good. You're always good. Even if the people say you changed and you didn't do it and all that stuff, they ain't saying that to you. They're saying that to themselves. They're fundamentally saying that to themselves. They ain't saying that to the people who've been helping out. It's not a belief, it's facts. You know, once you, a person who has done everything you could, once you actually process that, and you're like, okay, yeah, I could still do this. You know, I could still be there, help people, and that's exactly what I'm doing as much as I can. Even fighting off this cold and this weather over here is just nasty and it's getting colder and all that, man. But I think for myself, my notion is that in order to help people, you yourself can't have clouded judgment or a clouded mind or an NPC type mindset, you know, with anger, greed and ignorance. You can't have that. If you go and talk about helping people, you gotta have a clear mindset. You can't help people, talk about helping people, and post on social media about helping people if you yourself don't have nothing clear up here and here. You know, and I see a lot of people trying to put that out there as if they're actually on that game or they're on that level. Like you're not. You're just not. You know. That's if you actually process the situation thoroughly. You know, processing anything isn't like, oh, you take a good 5-10 minutes. No. You keep that with you, in your head for at least a couple months, depending on what the situation was. It takes a year, two. It depends, honestly. But you process it. Nothing ever goes back the same. It's not like you just go back to all that because and the other person, it's like, oh, you just left. You didn't say anything. Sure, that's one of those difficult things to deal with, but if the person knows you truly, whenever they snap out of their, you know, disillusioned state, you know, then you can work on things. But to just go back as if nothing happened and all that, it's both, it's just bold. And like sometimes it surprises me and sometimes it doesn't. People say, when people go ghost and leave and all that, that's how friendships end and all that. No, People go ghost because they have to take care of themselves. Here and here, you know. They gotta take care of themselves in two places. Physically, yeah, too, emotionally, spiritually, all that, you know. It's never just it's never just one side. But nowadays people will always often see one side. They didn't do enough for my sake. Or they didn't do enough. But just totally wrong, you know. But at the same time, you know, the person subconsciously is not aware of it, you know, depending on the severity. Of course, no one's aware of that, you know. And honestly, it's like, at times it's like, you know, you either write it down or you write it off as a poem or you put it somewhere in your head, but you never forget it. You know, you live, you learn, you become a better person, you become a more compassionate person, you know. At least that's how I've transitioned into it. I could have turned it into anger and, you know, all that stuff. I said, no, that's not going to solve anything. Why bother doing that? You know, I'm consciously aware, you know, self aware, all that, you know. So I have nothing to sit there and be ashamed about, or I didn't help, or any of that. And, you know, that's all self doubt talking, you know. I mean, everybody's had that. I've had that multiple times. Even wanting to do YouTube, actually, you know, I've had a little self doubt, you know, throwing it out there, you know, actually trying to do YouTube here and there. You know, it's been one of those little things like, yeah, I don't know. You know, now it's just like, alright, you know, I'll put out videos here and there. I'll do them when I have the time, or, you know, when I feel like them, or at night, you know, and I'll put them out. And I'll put them out because it's easier. And, you know, I enjoy putting them out. And it's fun. So, you know, that's always a plus. So, yeah, you know, and people going through that type of, you know, internal battle. You know, I'll tell you the best thing I've learned about it. You have to fight that part of you know, that beats yourself up after a situation like that. You know, you gotta fight that. It'll take time, you know, 2.5 to 3.5 years to actually get over it, process it, you know. Instead of sitting there saying, oh, I hate so and so, or I dislike so and so, and all this other stuff. Don't think like that. Don't bother with that type of destructive behavior, ne- um, negative behavior, because that's not gonna help, you know. And once you go through that, honestly, you'll be better for it. I know I am. You know, I can say that proudly. I know I am. You know, I have people that support me, and you know, when it comes to people, I'm a people person. You know, but I'm also a lone wolf person too. You know, I just am. I don't mind people, but I'm not a big fan of groups or any of that, or gatherings or any of that. Just not. Through social media, depends on if it aligns with my interest, of course. If not, eh, depending, you know. And I just stay in the present. Not worried about the future. Not worried about the past. I focus on what's here and what's now. And that's how I'm able to keep my consciousness and not to have a clouded mind. Not to say I'm not perfect or I don't ever have them. I have them a couple times, but once I go through a processing portion of things, it's like doesn't even bother me anymore. And that's just how I try to be. You know, whether or not it's effective for other people, who knows? I don't know really. I know for myself it's been effective because I've been a happier person. I've been a more calmer person. I've just been a very chill person. That's just how I am. Throughout videos, when I go out, I have to go interact with people, even though that's not a big thing that I like to do. I'm a chill person, and I try to stay that way. So, hey, if this video helps people, that's awesome. It's awesome. So, I think with that being said, I will see you guys in the next one. Sayonara and Tashi delay. So, peace and love.